Assalamu alaikum. I'm Mohammad Quraishi, and you're watching another episode of The Real Agenda on UCTV. It's our third Ramadan episode, and we have again Ustad Ramiz Ibrahim, who is a life coach. He's a holistic senior hijama therapist, nutritionalist, and alhamdulillah, he's already dealt with fasting and nutrition and parenthood, which you can watch on UCTV for the first 2 weeks of Ramadan. It's now going to be our third week, and we're going to discuss self-development. Okay. Ustad Ramiz, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, alhamdulillah. You always struggle with the introduction. I don't know why you struggle with it.
It's just, I wouldn't call it struggle. I'm just reading off what you do.
No problem.
Reading off what you do. We know you're good at introducing yourself, don't worry. Self-development, this issue of self-development, and where where do we start? Where do we begin? How does one begin to even assess themselves at where they are before directing themselves where they want to be?
Being a psychotherapist and life coach, they go hand in hand. The difference in modalities and methods can be vast, but I use them hand in hand, depending on what the person requires. But the main thing that I do tell people is they know where they want to be most times. They don't know where they are.
They don't know where they are, yeah.
They may know where they are, but they don't know how to make those changes to be where they want to be. So one of the most important things that I do tell people is to first, let's find out about you. Who are you? So to put it into a perspective, many people, the majority of people, are quite efficient in vocalizing their desires. I'm hungry, I'm thirsty, I want to get married, I need children, I need to get work, I need money, but when it comes to knowing themselves, they have no clue, because they're a product. And they only react when prodded.
Sure.
So not many know how to respond
to situations.
They know how to react, and that's all they know, because their reaction, everyone's reactionary. They are a product of society, they have not become the person they wanted to be. Now, many children, when they're young, they know they've got that person. They want to be me. I am me. But they lose them because they get downtrodden, verbally abused, not given the opportunity to expand, to grow, to get nurtured properly.
Sure.
So the person that their parents want them to be, society wants them to be, or their friends want them to be, so that in order to get accepted, in order for them to feel, they get so bombarded so much, eventually they give up. They give up and say, okay, I'll be what you want to be, and that's it.
Yeah, because we have a lot of syndromes of keeping up with the Joneses and what with our peer pressure, and it becomes rather than do what one wants to do and pursue the goals one wants to do, is interested and wants to do. People are just, what will people say if I do this? What will people say?
Because the people are living in guilt and fear and worry about the other person's going to say, what they're going to say, and what they're going to say. But all you have to worry about is what Allah's going to say, really.
100%. And then it's a good, we mentioned fear there, so let's tackle fear. How do we overcome these fears, whether it's this or anything else?
You've got to put them in perspective. You've got to rationalize fear. It's rational fear is okay. Irrational fear is what 99% of people have. You know, if I don't do that, this may happen. So they have automatic negative thoughts. So if I do this, that may happen. If I don't do it, this may happen. They may say this, and she may say that. He may say that. And they may say that. They're going to think, who cares? As long as you don't hurt anybody.
Yeah.
You know, and you're doing so, or yourself for that matter.
Sure.
You need to find importance in yourself and value in yourself for where you want to be, because you know many people get to a point of age, and then they start thinking about making change. And they say, "Oh, it's too late now. What's the point?"
Yeah.
People want to change for other people, not because of themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Issue.
Yeah.
You know, whether you've been brought up in Deen or you revert, and then you have all that aspect of understanding of who you aren't, but who you want to be. You know, there is no the fear factor comes from being, you know, you're not born with fear. You're fearless. You acquire fear, and irrational fear at that. So as you grow up, you know, your parents may say to you, "Oh, don't do that. That may happen. This may." They will give you specifics like, "Oh, if you do that, you're going to fall and break your neck. If you do that, you're going to fall and break your leg. If you do that, you get sick. If you do that, you're going to get cold. If you do that, you're going to get hot." So they're giving you these statements that come into play later on. When right now, I'm ready to expand I can't, because those thoughts come back.
Mm-hmm.
Those irrational thoughts that weren't yours in the first place. There were other people's, namely your parents, because you're with your parents more time growing up. They brainwash you in a certain way.
Mm-hmm. There is that, and then later on it's your peer group, and then it's media. And
yeah, of course, TV. Then you got you got school and friends, but then again, you're so used to it from home.
Yeah.
Like you may get bullied and say, "Oh, look at him, look at her," and it says, "Okay, yeah, you can laugh. It's okay."
Well, bullying is a big issue, and it's not just in school. You know, bullying can carry on in different forms in various aspects.
Yeah, between spouses and children, even kids. You know, bullying their parents. You know, we all do it by degree. You just can't help it because you come into your own.
Yeah, everybody's coming to I get
that. To their own. So, you know, I mean, I was bullied in school. I was bullied until the third year. Third year what? First 12, 11, 14, 15, I think 14 years old. After that, I just fought anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Now anyone to bully me after that. I don't care whether I got beat.
Oh, no, it wasn't the issue, yeah.
This wasn't the issue. You know, it was like, you look at me funny, get kicked in the head. I couldn't help it. It's just, I got beat up, and I beat many, you know, at the end of the day. So.
I mean, it's quite I wouldn't call it, well, I might as well. It's quite an achievement, if you want to use that word, is when you act like you've got nothing to lose.
Well, yeah, the only thing you've got nothing to lose, the only thing you've got to lose is your life, and that belongs to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, you know, when you're going to do something, you're going to make it rational. Now, what am I going to do? So, for example, where do I want to be in 3 months in business? Where do I want to be 3 months in my relationship? Where do I want to be 3 months in whatever, in my own self-development? So I know where I want to be. Now, how do I get there now? So knowing oneself, we digressed a bit from that. It's very, very important to understand oneself.
Yeah.
Not your purpose. So when you come into Deen, or you're brought up in Deen, you have your protocols from Quran and Sunnah. If you stick to that, you'll be okay. Then you've got the psychology side of yourself, you know, the mindset and the heart set.
Yeah.
That sometimes rebels against the Deen. Even though you know Allah, you know, you love Allah, you fear Allah, you hope in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you know it, but you still do it and you can't help it. You know, and you fight. It's all mujadala within yourself, mujahida, sorry, and yourself, and understanding, you know, the conflicts inside you. I want to be there, but I know I'm wrong, Allah. I know you're going to forgive me, but I'm not going to take the piss. But I know I'm going to do the same sin again tomorrow. And blah 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 blah. You know, I'm sorry, and this, it's all about a struggle. It's no jihad al-nafs, jihad al-akbar, they say. I know it's a fabricated hadith, mawdu'a. It's a mawdu'a hadith, fabricated hadith, but the essence of it is understandable. Jihad of the self is very strong. Yeah, you can't deny it.
Yeah.
Although it's not the greatest jihad, but it is.
Yeah, it's not maybe the greatest, and plus, just to sidestep it, I think the scholars just maybe who don't use the term jihad enough, just say, well, it's tasqiyat enough. It's tasqiyat.
Islah al-nafs, tasqiyat al-nafs, whatever you can call it. They call it tasawwuf, whatever they call it, takhawuf. Stick to Quran and Sunnah and understand where you're lacking and where you need to be. And the thing is, sometimes that's why we need the murabbi. You need a life coach growing up when you're a young child, a mentor, other than your mother and father who has your greatest interests at heart, to teach you the deen, teach you the life, teach you about skills, teach you about how to be a man, how to be a woman, how to reflect on yourself. And you can't deal with. I mean, I was telling earlier about anyone looked at me funny in school, I kicked him in the head, but or got into a fight with them. That's not the way to deal with things. You can't go through that. It's just a way to just stop it immediately. I don't want to go any further, so stop it. And the only way to stop you is just beat you up, because I haven't got the tools to
deal with it all the way.
Up my argument, because I haven't got the cognitive skills or the skills, the emotional intelligence to deal with it.
Okay. Okay, so let's look at something in terms. Well, two things really, and it's a lot of people suffer from it. Let's be honest. One's procrastinating, okay, and then there's the case I don't have the will. I can't find, where do I get the willpower from to do something?
Good question. I mean, I remember I always hear this, and I always say it myself as well. If you really do procrastinate and you believe you procrastinate, then procrastination. Well, it is what it is, isn't it? I mean, it is a fact. If you procrastinate, procrastination, then from that, how to deal with procrastination, in my view, is, and how I deal with it is, I don't make everything urgent. I find out what's important and what's urgent. Out of what's urgent, find the most urgent thing and do that. What needs to be done right now.
Yeah.
And then put them into order, chronological order, and find like this needs to be done. That's important, but it's not urgent. So I can leave that till next week. So you can use procrastination positively.
Prioritize.
Prioritize. That's right. What's priority? People got their priorities wrong. And usually when people have got no clue about self-development and don't know how to move forward, they prioritize their desires. What I can get right now, my immediate gratification, right this second. We've all been there. We all do it. And then we regret afterwards, and you try and move forward and you try and get them changed and come back to it again, because that's how you've been brought up. But if you get a child from a young age, by the time they're 7 to 14, and they, as the scholars say, but as you've got to try and teach them that this is anger, this is disappointment, and this is not how to deal with things. Let me show you another way of dealing with it. So you're mentoring them growing up. So far as willpower is concerned, if you're sitting in a room and it's on fire, you know what to do, wouldn't you? You sit in the room, are you? You know what to do.
You're saying that, but out of nowhere, I don't know how this happened. Yeah, the toaster went on fire at Sahur today. You know that.
SubhanAllah.
I'm like, whoa. So I'm going to get a new one, but that was like, whoa.
Oh, you're thinking about that? I'm thinking about no toast. No, I'm joking.
No,
no toast.
You're trying to get something done. Yeah.
So, look, I always give this analogy, and if you watch most of my videos, you will see that it's become a cliche. Now, the analogy I give is of a milk bottle. Now, I don't know if you remember the old glass bottles that were delivered to your door. They still do it if you order it. You go online and find a milkman and deliver the glass bottles. Because of viscosity, I think about 1.00 and blood 1.06. And as you know, you're in hijama game. You drop a on the floor, a little bit goes a long way. It makes a mess. It's because of viscosity, the consistency of it. So the milk falls on the floor, it smashes, you've got glass, you've got milk, makes a mess. The first mindset and the heart set. I remember saying this in the last video before, because it's so poignant, it's so important to understand this concept, that the first mindset and heart set, they look at the milk and they say, oh, glass, milk, soaking to the carpet. I better get the bucket, then the gloves, the fairy liquid, maybe a bit of bleach, Yeah. By the time they've done anything about it, the milk's turned to cheese. They're not doing anything. But the other side, the other mindset and heart set, before the bottle falls down, there's a bucket there, the mop there, the mop bucket, the flash, the jiff, whatever. Anything you need to clean up is there. Why? Because that's that first mindset and heart set does what they feel like doing. And the second heart set and mindset does what needs to be done. So the reason the bucket and the mop and all the cleaning material is already there, because they're a just-in-case type of person. They've had experience before. So they know that as soon as it drops down, cleaned up, done. Get a rag and this and that. I'll find a bit of rag, let's clean it up. But they have no clue because they haven't been brought up knowing how to clean and cook and clean and wash and iron, how to deal with things, how to clean windows in and out, how to put washing machine on, how to use an iron. And I'm being metaphoric there, and also I'm being literal there as well. So when a person wants to say like, oh, I want to be a millionaire. Okay, how long? What's the realistic time frame you give yourself? About a year. Okay, and what's your wages right now? Oh, 35 grand a year. If you continue on that path, you ain't gonna make it, right? Yes. What do you need to do? You need an active passive income stream. Maybe few of them. Okay. Investment money, this and that. There's lots of, so you're going to try and find the right. Somebody says, right, you know what? I don't show much love in my relationship. So in 3 months, I'm going to make sure that when we look at each other in a relationship, and my husband and wife, we're going to be happy. We're not going to be hiding our emotions. How do you start that? Don't wait for the other person. If the other person says something about you, you're always like this, it's a bit superlative to say you're always like that, because you're not always like, you're being like that. You know, you're being selfish right now. You're being unloving right now. You're being this, you're being that right now. It's fine. Right now, yes, I maybe being that. But in a minute, I'm not going to be that person or that being or that heart and mindset. So it's important to make yourself goals, set yourself goals. And if you're not used to setting yourself goals and achieving them, set yourself smaller goals and achieve them. Whether it be you're sitting down and saying, right, I'll fancy a cup of tea. Oh, I'll do it in a minute. That mindset now, you just programmed, you're already programming yourself so that you're procrastinating. Get up and do it. Oh, there's a bit of glass on the floor. Oh, I'll do it in a minute. No, pick it up and put it in the bin. Oh, that kitchen needs doing. Oh, I'll do it tomorrow. You need the washing up. No, do it now. It's reprogramming. It's about rewiring your mind, rewiring the way you think.
Sure.
Because people, they don't move in life because they are set in their ways.
Okay.
Cliche.
Sure. Let's look. Examples come to mind, right? And I'm not scripting this one with you. So, look, a basic example. A lot of people go through. A lot of brothers I know go through. I've gone through it in the past. But the thing is, look, something from Deen, yeah, and maybe perhaps we can take it and learn from it and even apply it. Let's try a little exercise. Okay, brothers I know struggle with their salah. Okay, they either don't pray at all or they just pray Jummah, but they're not getting on this thing. They know there's Allah, they know they've got to do it, but they've gone into that procrastinating, lazy habit of forsaking it. Okay, how do they from a religious perspective? How would we turn that around? How would we get that willpower, start praying, and then maybe
it's not will. It's not. Yeah, sorry, brother. It's not willpower, or this is iman, lack of iman. There's nothing. I mean, you can't say to someone, pray when they don't feel like you. Got to find out why they don't feel like you. What's going on in their life? Not one that commits kufr is a kafir. Understand?
Yeah.
And just because they stops praying doesn't make them a kafir. Although, we go into the fiqh of that.
Yeah, there is.
Al-kufr wa salah, bain al-kufr wa shirk, tark salah. The difference between shirk and kufr is the abandonment of
is the prayer, yeah.
الذي بيننا وبينهم الصلاة فمن ترك فقد كفر. The difference between us and them is the prayer. If you abandon it, you've entered into kufr. The man tarka salah faqad kafar. That if you in the hadith of Ahmed rahimahullah, there's many hadiths, man tarka salah fakat ashrak, man tarka salah fakat kafar, that if you've abandoned prayer, you've entered into kufr and shirk. But what does abandonment mean now? In Ahmed ibn Hanbali, in the Hanbali chain, between Dhuhr and Asr, if you don't pray, you become a kafir. And it's about teaching that person now, teaching them, look, you have to pray. I know I have to pray, brother. Okay, no problem. So why are you not praying? Oh, I'm lazy. Well, to be honest with you, there's a thin line between laziness and kufr. You have to understand this. This being a kaslan, in a kaslan state, or kusul, or laziness and etc. is not an excuse. You say, I'm glad you brought it up, but I don't spend too much time on this. But everyone knows what to do. When it's time to eat, you eat. When it's time to pray, you don't pray. There's a problem here.
Yeah, obviously there's a problem. The problem with anything you do, and you just
unless it's we're not talking about mental health here, or the person is schizophrenic, or they don't know, or this is Allah Alam. This is Allah Subhanahu wa Taala will deal with this. At the end of the day, if the person says, look, you can see that there's something wrong with that person. They don't pray. They don't take care of themselves. If they're in high depression, it's different. I'm not going to go into specific situations, but generally speaking, you say to the person, why do you pray Jummah? They say it's fard. Okay, based on that, let's leave the deen aside for a second. Based on that principle of fard, why are you not praying 5 times a day? Oh Allah, oh brother, as if I'm Allah, I'm asking. I'll pray 5 times a day. I'm lazy. Okay. Make dua for me, brother. I'm lazy. Make dua for me. I'll give you one slap. At the end of the day, don't tell me about you're lazy and you're using laziness as an excuse, because Allah is lazy to give you everything that you require, and you're not lazy to eat and sleep and have the conjugal rights and have children and eat and sleep and fulfill your desires. But when it comes to giving Allah half an hour of your time, what you're implying to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is this: Allah, you said to me 5 times a day, but you know what? I'm not going to pray 5 times a day. I'm not even going to pray 5 times on a Jummah. I'm just going to pray once every week on a Jummah. Who gave that opinion that Jummah is enough? Now, I get passionate about this. I'm not going to go into one, but to be honest with you,
if you are.
You have no right. What right do you have to say? And these imams, with all due respect, the imams need the slap. I'll get very, very annoyed. Your masjid is full on a Jummah. Well, not now, this COVID thing, but let's talk generally. It's full up on Friday. Yeah, you don't even tell the congregation 10 seconds, 20 seconds, 30 seconds before the prayer, don't move before me. Don't leave too big a gaps. And I have advised myself, imams, to do it before this. I tell them, brother, no, that's not good enough.
I've done that with myself.
You're responsible. You are right. You're a shepherd.
Especially with the movements, we're supposed to follow. The imam has to go first, and then we follow afterwards. And there shouldn't be this super speed where we're doing it at the same time, or even before the imam's moved.
You ask them, do you come from sajda before the imam? No, because you wait for Allahu Akbar. So why do you go into ruku before? Why you make these anticipated moves? Just wait. Why are you competing with the imam? So what is this person going through? I don't know. Individuals, generally speaking, you've got to pray 5 times. There's no excuse. It could be kufr, depending on that. If you leave out with a prayer at all, you don't pray and just go la ilaha Muhammad Rasulullah, and that's it. You can. There's a hadith that says, "Man qala la ilaha illallah dakhala jannah." Anyone that says la ilaha illallah enters into Jannah. But you can't just take that one hadith and that's it. I'm in Jannah.
Yeah.
That's because you're picking and choosing. It's like fatwa shopping, like everything else people do.
Mm-hmm.
So if a person is suffering from not prayer, go and see a sheikh, talk to him. No one's going to judge you, and we're not here to judge people in the sense that we're here to advise. Don't judge me. I'm not judging you. You know what's wrong and what's right. I'm just advising you.
Yeah, you actually judge yourself if you're asking advice and help because you know there's something wrong.
Yeah, brother. You're not praying, or I saw the other day drinking. I'm glad you're hiding it, but if you need any help, I can help you, brother.
Mm-hmm.
You've got Muslims standing on top of big beers like this, having a cigarette. That's the most, that I can't understand it, you know. And I mean, if we're going to talk about development, self-development, we're going to talk about development in the deen. We all have to do it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not perfect. I'm far from it.
Of course not.
And that's not being intentionally, potentially humble. I'm not. I've got a long way to go as well. I make mistakes. We all do. But it doesn't mean that, you know, I can't tell someone because I'm telling myself I do. I can't advise someone because I'm advising somebody else because I'm advising myself at the same time. And I'm only doing it out of love. You know, if I see you, you know, there's a hole there and I see you, oh, that's not what I'm going to tell him. Grab him by the neck, pull him over, throw him on the floor and say, "Akhi, stuff, what do that for?" That's right, you just not walking the quicksand, brother. You didn't see it. Oh, jazakallah khair, brother. So I appreciate it. Most brothers these days say, mind your own business. Let me fall into the quicksand. It's not your business.
It's true. Yeah, so you're looking at that and look, yeah, okay, there's obligations. People need to fear Allah. And it's down to Iman, like you said. So let's take it a step further. I was saying, let's look at this example of Salah and procrastinating and dealing with the daily prayers. And then can we extend that example and apply it to other things? Does Iman and the nurturing of Iman, does that psychologically perhaps, I think, have a parallels to other things that in other situations that it may not be this, that, or the other, it may be another thing, it may be a conviction factor that's stopping them to do something in any sphere of life.
Iman goes up and down. So I always use the ladder explanation. So you've got a ladder, you've got the rungs of the ladder. So you're on 5. You want to try to go to 10. If you stay at 5, you know you're going to drop to 3. And when you get to 10, try to get to 15, because when you drop, you're going to drop to 7. You know, you want to keep moving all the time. And people have this, and the thing is, I would, you know, we understand, you know, the times we're living in. When I came into Deen, I came into 96, 97, and it was hot. And it was hot. There was talks everywhere. You go every Saturday weekend up and down the country. There's
Absolutely.
I'm going to this sheikh to that talk. I'm going to listen to this sister's talk. I'm going to that brother's talk. I'm going to that talk.
Yeah,
whatever.
I remember. I mean, I
all of a sudden,
for me was
all of a sudden, yeah, sheikhs disappeared, and then they brought in the Sufis. Then they brought in these celebrity sheikhs now. You know, take pictures of you and all that. And you know, you've got this. The GPU came out, and you brought in these. You know, Sami Yusuf talking about this, and just like the non-Muslim women take off their knickers and chuck it at the singer. I thought sisters were going to. I wasn't there. I don't go to these nonsense, these things. You know, I heard. You know, I saw some videos, and I thought any minute the sisters were going to take off the hijabs and throw it at him, and they banned him. You know, I mean, what? Come on, 50, 60,000 people there, and you're going to be in the new awaited. You know, the new Nasheed artists and all that. Oh, brother, we need an alternative. No, we don't. No, we don't. We don't need an alternative.
Mm-hmm.
We need strong people, strong shepherds to bring our children up to say, look, this is right and this is wrong. If you're an alternative, find other things. You don't need alternative feeders. You need an alternative to go camping and fishing and get them out there instead of, because what happens is once their desires are awakened to these things, that's it. I want an alternative now.
Yeah, I mean, that's the issue there was, it's like you're treating the so-called, like as if it's a pop concert and you're doing the same thing.
Listen, don't get me wrong. There are some good nasheeds out there without music that just kids can listen to, and it still helps them in the deen and all that. But what happens is
it's just copying. It's just taking it from everything else is the same. The fanboyism is the same.
There's not many, and the people like for example, if I was to talk this generally to everybody else, Ramiz Ibrahim is a bit of an extremist. I want to know why. I'm not telling you to kill anybody. I'm not telling you to plant a bomb anywhere. I'm not telling you to kill, you know, innocent people. I'm telling you to follow Quran and Sunnah. I'm telling you to, you know, boost up your iman. I'm telling you to boost up and stop putting the wool over your eyes and wool over everybody else's eyes. Put things in perspective if you know where you are. But the thing is, you've got fathers and mothers who are now, you know, we've just joined the mortgage crew. So now they're saying, well, we're not making enough money. So now the wife has to work. Because we went through this in parenthood. You know, the kids are in school, mainstream school, and they're learning what they're learning, which is fine. Everything starts from home. But then the parents too are trying to spend time with the kids. The mother's always cooking and cleaning and washing. So where's the mentoring?
Sure.
Where's our community adhesion? Where's our community collectiveness for the sake of our children? I went to a nice lecture today. But what about your kids? Oh, I don't know where they are. I think they're playing football. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So good parenting, good business, good relationship starts from yourself first. And one of the exercises that I do give people before they even start the counseling, psychotherapy, life coaching,
Sure.
to write down 10 things you like about yourself, 10 things you dislike, and 10 things you want to change about yourself. The 10 things you want to change about yourself may not coincide with the 10 things you dislike about yourself because your ego's not ready to change them yet. And that's fine.
Mm.
But you've got to be connected with your vices. You have to know who you are, what's wrong, and try and change that. You know, you may leave a few scars behind on yourself and others, you know, but you keep moving forward, you know, and make things right. And then you find out more about yourself.
True.
You know, I think called Johari window. When you're doing level 2 counselling skills, you learn something about called a Johari window. And Johari, I can't remember the guy's names now. There's two people. The Johari is a mixture of two people's names, and it's like a box and 4 squares. And so you got in the first quadrant, you've got something what you know about yourself and what others know about you. In the second quadrant, what you know about yourself and what others don't. In the third quadrant is what others know about you, what you don't know about yourself. And the fourth quadrant is what you don't know about yourself, what others don't know about yourself. And you fill them in.
Sure.
When you do these kind of things, it's
like it reminds me of when you're watching what you eat and everything. When you do a diary, you're paying attention to.
That's what I'm saying. That's why when you're eating food, you've got to find out. Like we spoke about, nutrition. About are you getting nourished? Well, I'm eating. Well, that's not what we're asking. Is the food nourishing for you, or is just to fill up your belly because you can't have pangs of hunger? And this is why it's easier to, I suppose, leave things off because you can't be bothered to make the change. You can't bother to come out of your comfort zone.
Excellent. Okay, then. Well, look, we'll just pause for a short break. Okay, and we'll be right back, folks. Welcome back, folks. Again, we've got Ustad Ramiz Ibrahim back again here, and we're talking about self-development. So we talked about a few things before the break, and I want to get into more of how to self-develop in certain areas. So, look, let's tackle relationships. So, marriage. How do we improve ourselves? Or how do we develop within a marriage, for example? What would be like good pointers to focus on in a relationship?
Oh, very simply put, you need to find out, what you want to improve. So if you improve your marriage, then you're going to find out what you need to improve within it. Are you following the Quran and Sunnah, generally speaking? Every situation is different. Every specific situation is specific to that relationship. But I'm talking general now.
General, yeah.
Read about what you want to improve. So you read about, marriage in Islam. You read about, and that's generally speaking. And the hadith and the Quran tells you about how to develop your marriage and what to do in your marriage. And then you've got dunya information. So you can find someone, or find a book to read about marriage. Then you can find a mentor to help you with your marriage. How someone can help you with marriage? Well, you can do counseling. You can do, life coaching to improve yourself. Improving yourself, it means improving those things around you.
Mm-hmm.
Read books on it. And this is general for everything. And I want to give you a list of things that you can do.
Okay.
To improve, not just your marriage, but in any relationship, it's business relationship, personal relationship, relationship with yourself, even introducing yourself to yourself. And I've got a video on YouTube called Introducing Yourself to Yourself, because we're too busy introducing ourselves to other people because of our narcissistic tendencies, and because we're too intent in trying to get approval, self-approval. And am I okay? Am I really loved? Am I wanted? Am I cared for? And this comes from not the lack from when you're younger.
Mm.
So, first of all, what is it you want to improve on? Secondly, find about what the skills you want to improve on. Read about them. Self-reflection at the end of the day, which is tazkiyah, which is tadabbur. Just Allah says, to reflect on the Quran, reflect on yourself, your sins, how much tawbah you're making, how much thing you're making. You want to also, what should we call it? Understand what your weaknesses are. Your strengths and weaknesses, as we mentioned, the self-help exercise I gave about what you like, what you dislike, what to change about yourselves. Find other people that want to change the same thing about themselves as you, so you can have like a little unit. Create some kind of, giving yourself some reward for fulfilling it, and not punish yourself in a bad way, but being brutally honest with yourself. You got to find out about how you can, self-progress. And these are standards. I've got these on a list of internet, plus what I've watched some of my videos in the past when I give to people, put them together. Being brutally honest about it is a very, very important. Brutally honest. Not just say, yeah, I want to change. Do you want to change? How far are you willing to come out of your comfort zone?
Excellent. So, okay. So how does one go about it? If there's a step-by-step thing or key points to look at, what do we need to focus on?
Well, practice makes perfect, isn't it? And this is why you have to reflect. Once you reflect, on the day's proceedings, or the day's, proceeding, then you can find out what you've done right and what you've done wrong, what you can improve on, what you need to leave off.
Mm-hmm.
That's with every business. And marriage is a business. You have to invest in it. You have to make investment and not go into a marriage thinking what I can get out of it. He or she's not giving me what this. You don't get married to fulfill your insecurities.
A lot of people these days are insecure, though. How
they are, and they think the other person. It's like you get married, and sometimes the wives want you to fulfill what their fathers didn't, or they even begin to have a relationship with their husband.
Yeah, so you think that's a totally wrong idea to look to a relationship to fix yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. You got to think about what it is that you need to repair within yourself and your relationship.
Okay, so but
Self-reparation.
let's be honest. There's a lot of people like that. People do look like that. Oh, once I get into a relationship, this and this will all sort itself out.
It doesn't, does it? It doesn't, does it? This is why people get married and they still have the issues of the past, like they're dealing with pornography.
How do we deal with
dealing with past issues? There is an organization called My Tazkiyah, and they deal with mentoring people who are addicted to pornography. And I help them as a mentor. And I don't blame them. Wallahi, brother, I don't judge anyone. Even internally, I don't think, oh, look what they're doing. I don't even say that. I don't say things like that. I don't even vocalize that to myself. And yes, everything we all know. If you're not sinning in one aspect, you're sinning in something else. We're all sinners.
In one respect or another, correct. And no, it's you mentioned that.
You give a listener ear. You're trying to listen.
You should listen to rather than be the judge. And 100%, because you talk about that aspect about listening and not feeling like or judging people as and you're right. Everybody has their own sin or vice that's like dominant, and everybody's test is different. Let's be honest. Everybody has a different kind of test, so we all have a test. Pornography might be one person's test. Alcoholism might be another person's test. Womanizing might be another person's test. Drugs could be, so all these kind of problems, the vices that you like you call them. So there'd be this listening ear, but then I do that rings true to me for the way you explained it, and I think sometimes it's hard to, for some people not to be that judge type of thing, and to empathize and listen and say, okay, well, you know what, maybe there's a way out of this.
That's listening with your own self as well. Self empathy, self-compassion. To make those changes. You do deserve love. You do deserve care. You do deserve change.
Mm-hmm. So you mentioned something when we were talking about narcissism within people. That's especially nowadays a lot's happening. How
I used to have it a lot.
Yeah,
just self and I didn't care anything is because it was a mechanism growing up. The thing is, only I matter now because no one cared about me. So at least someone's got to care about me. I might as well not exist.
No, I mean, and
I've learned to balance
like that. It actually sounds logical. You start to justify it.
It's not justification. It is. I mean, I don't blame. He's narcissistic. She's narcissistic. Narcissistic tendencies. But it's only when you are extreme with it and you really hurt people with it.
Yeah, I mean, there's. I think tendencies come and go. You might have traits of certain things in certain situations, and other times you may not.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. Once somebody it takes things to an extreme, or you can hurt people, and you can't be ignorant to the fact that you hurt people. When you hurt people, you hurt people.
You're gonna make it right. You make it right.
And it's we do come into rights and wrongs, and there's certain issues which are clearly wrong. But yeah, interesting.
And I ask on now that all those people that I have hurt in the past that know, please forgive me. And if not, you want to, call me, have like closure on it. I'm more than willing. People have hurt me and I've hurt them. It is what it is.
It is what it is. Yes.
Bad way. It is in a bad way. It's that try and make amends.
I mean, to people at home, look, folks, it is Ramadan, and look, Brother Ramiz here is saying, he's had a past. He's not perfect. If he's done anything, forgive him, and he's even prepared to. If people are going to struggle to forgive him, he's prepared to have that talk with them and get closure on issues. Ramadan is really the best time to think about that. Have we hurt people? Have we, do we need closure on certain things? Can we forgive certain things? Now is the perfect time. And with Ramadan, Ramiz, we're halfway through, roughly just over halfway. So what can people take from this for self-development? Being Ramadan and going forward after Ramadan.
Yeah, yes, Ramadan is a stepping stone. We all know that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu kutiba alaykum as-siyam kutiba ala alladhina min qablikum la'allakum tattaqun. That we're there to get taqwa, right? But Ramadan has been reduced to recipes. And, protecting the deen is reduced to nasheeds. Let's put it that way. So, you've still got about 13 days, I think. 13, about that, 30, 40 days anyway. And we need to, if we don't grab the bull by its horns and do what needs to be done now, when are we going to do it? If you haven't picked up the Quran, if you haven't picked up the Quran and to read it yet, no one's blaming you. Grab it. You've got plenty of time to start reading it and moving forward. If you wanted that hadith to memorize the hadith, memorize the hadith. There's people you need to talk to ask forgiveness from, do that. If you haven't done tahajjud enough, do tahajjud. Do as much as you can. Allah doesn't expect, Allah's not expecting perfection, but He's expecting progression, that you are doing something. And Allah, the best love deeds of Allah are small deeds that are done regularly.
Regularly, yeah. Subhanallah, subhanallah.
And see where you want to be. I mean, we always say, oh, next Ramadan, but that's just a cliche that the shaitan wants you to play with.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Would you say procrastination is from shaitan?
Of course.
All procrastination or?
No, I'm thinking of something like Atamana min Allah wa ajlatu min shaitan. That, holding back and being patient is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and ajala and being hasty is from shaitan. That's not neither here for that hadith right now, in regard to the topic, what you just asked me. But taswif, mumatala, leaving things off tomorrow, what you can do today. You can be shaitan. It is. I think it is shaitan. Whispers to you, I'll do it tomorrow. Just like when you're up for Fajr, oh, don't worry, it's too early. Or praying, don't worry, when you go to Hajj and you become an old man, that's when you can start praying and wear the beard, become park, become clean. Then, it's all from shaitan.
Become park, yeah.
You're still young. Why are you going to wear hijab for? Look like an old lady. That's for the olden times. Young men, why are you wearing a beard? It makes you look old. You're a young man, go and enjoy yourself. When people say this, I hate these kind of rhetorics. I hate it, especially from family. I just, I don't get it. I haven't heard it from my family in that sense. Alhamdulillah, my family practicing now. I was the first one in my whole family. Came to Deen 1997. I was the first one in my immediate family and from my distant family. And I've got a huge family.
Subhanallah.
It's only my family now, my brothers and my sister, my other three brothers and their families, my sister and her family. Mum and dad were all practicing, alhamdulillah, all praying. Outside of us is my cousin, one cousin, two males, that is. A couple of friends that are close to the family that are Turkish Cypriots, but many Turkish Cypriots that I do know that are not family, but I do know very well as well. So, alhamdulillah, I said, alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. And looking back and think, if I'd have died in a time where Allah didn't help me, and I think I'd have been in deep, deep trouble. Deep trouble, One day I'll tell you my life story, but not online with you.
All right, okay.
With the deen and everything else from the past and the present. And then looking back now, looking at my stories, my narratives, placed why I went there, understanding why I went there, recognizing that I went there for a reason other than my own, and then finding out that's from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Sometimes it's difficult to sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's difficult to understand why something happened to you in a particular time in life and what lesson was to be learned to it. Sometimes it's really obvious. Sometimes you don't get it straight away. Sometimes you
absolutely
don't get it straight away.
Yes, later on when you reflect. That's why reflecting is important.
Okay. What I'm going to say is let's summarize. Yeah. If we're just going to leave some tips or pointers of how to self-develop, how would you just sum it up? Because we talked about various things. If we just sum it up into something concise, a take-home message like we do.
In the dunya, the dunya and deen go hand in hand. But if we're talking about dunya, I'm talking about relationships and business and things like that.
Yeah.
Then you need to find out where you want to be. Find a mentor, even if you've got paid £2,000 or £3,000, £6,000, £7,000 for these people who've been there and they can help you get you along your way, and don't come out your comfort zone and stop looking at things negatively, okay, and speculate to accumulate. You'll get there. 2, read the books about the things that you wanted to have skills from. The skills you want, read about the skills, learn from other people who've got the skills, even if you've got to re-educate yourself. Self-evaluation is very, very important. I can say something about the deen, to be honest with you, and I'll leave you with the one hadith where the Prophet asked the Sahaba, Hal al-Muflis, do you know who the Muflis is, the bankrupt person?
Mm-hmm.
And the Sahaba said, the person who hasn't got dinar or dirham. Says, no. A person will come on Judgment Day and he sees as good deeds as far as the eye can see. Now I've got a wall in front of me. We're not talking about that. We're talking about if the earth was flat and there was no buildings, nothing, you can see to the ufuk, to the horizon,
Mm-hmm.
and everything else that you look for peripheral behind you is all full of your good deeds. You're going to feel farah. You're going to feel, you're going to be happy and etc. But then you look to your left, there's a queue as far as the eye can see. These are the people that you lied to, you cheated, you broke their trust, you backbit, you done namima, you slandered, etc., etc. They're going to take all your deeds.
Mm-hmm.
Finished, but the queue's still standing. Then you recognize you are the bankrupt person. You're going to take on their bad deeds and end up in the hellfire for it, to get purified for it. Now, in reality, when we've got this ATM card, you put into the machine, you've got these zero, you've got 10 grand, for example, say, like you got back to a 30 grand, I know that.
No.
But,
Make dua for me, bro. Make dua for me.
Allah yashrik, rizqan. We need to increase the rizq, inshallah.
I mean,
when we you see the zeros go down, and that's the reality. Oh, you feel it. The zeros are going down. Tick, 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 tick. You got more months than money. And you think, well, what's going to happen? Allah's alhamdulillah, no problem. But that's the reality of your good deeds on that day. Ting, 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 ting. It's going to go because of the people that you've done wrong to. On the other side of the coin, you can be that person, or you can be the other person who stands in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you can't move an inch. And Allah puts a hijab around you, and the angels ask you, on this day you did that sin. On this day you did that sin. You walked there, you looked at that, you said this, you smelt that, you heard this, you touched this, you did this, you did that. And your smile is going to go from that to a frown, and you're going to think, Allah, will you not forgive me? Allah's going to smile and says, because of my mercy, you've been standing in front of me now. Now get in the Jannah.
Yeah. SubhanAllah.
So that's the choice we have.
Yeah, I mean, and there's that saying of the Prophet ﷺ that your deeds alone aren't going to suffice for you. It's going to be Allah.
It's the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's the mercy. That's what we do it for. You could have all the deeds in the world, but they may be enough to gain Allah's mercy. That's what's important. I'm talking to you now, and I'm trying to connect with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I'm connecting now. So Allah, I'm saying it. I know I'm hypocritical. I know that I'm a bad sinner. I know that I'm not perfect, but I know you're my Lord. Anta Rabbi wa Ilahi. You're my Lord and my God. It's different between worshipping Allah as God and as a Ilah, a deity, and Rabb. Big difference. And only you I worship Allah, and don't allow me to worship you through any kind of statue or tomb or anything, except worship you and you alone, Allah. I want to worship you and you alone, Allah. Nobody else, nothing else. I want to meet you without shirk. I'll leave myself to you. You can punish me or you can forgive me, Allah. But I always have good thoughts about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You will forgive me, inshallah.
Inshallah. Yeah, always be hopeful in the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Absolutely.
It's not something Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions most relative to, the punishments and things like that. And if we remind it again and again and again, only condition is, we worship Him alone, and we just ask for forgiveness. Just ask.
Yes.
Ask and thou shall receive, inshallah.
Yeah.
Jazakallah, Brother Ramiz, for
thank you for having me.
And we will look forward to another round with you before the end of Ramadan.
Inshallah.
Okay. Jazakallah khair.
Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.